everybody. My name's Tanya Benlow, and this is the amazing friend of mine, my awesome lady, my healer, my woo-woo lady, Lorene Hughes. And tonight we're going to have some juicy conversations. And I've even asked Lorene to use me as a test subject. Now, many of you have had an interesting year. A lot of people I see say they've had a really bad year. For me, I've had a really awesome year, and probably hence to having some nice sessions with you this year. Probably done that too. I've done a lot of clearing, a lot of letting go. Probably might need to do a bit more. I think there could be something else we could squeeze in before the end of the year. So, Lorene, what do you reckon we should have a chat about tonight?
Well, I think your videos earlier today sort of nailed it quite well, in that numerology-wise, this is a 9-year. So how do we work that out? Let's go right back to basics for just a minute. How did they figure out this whole 9-year thing, right? And so that's where you go. 2025 is a 2 plus a 0 plus a 2 plus a 5 equals, I know it's late, but it's 9. I know. We get to this time of the year, this time of the day, we can't even math, but 5 plus 2 plus 2 plus 0 equals 9. So we know from a numerological point of view that this is the end of a cycle, because the next year, 2026, is a 1 year. Okay? Because what happens is 6 plus 2 plus 2 equals how much? This many, 10, which then goes down to a 1. Okay? And 1's years are always about the beginning of the new cycle. So over the next 9 years, you will be tackling whatever next round of lessons or rememberings or slothing offs or whatever it is. The cool thing is that the end of a 9-year, and this is part of why so many of us have had a really challenging year this year in lots of different aspects, from financial to family to friends to work to like all of the different aspects that if you really step back and have a look at you and your friends for the last 12 months, you'll see that you've all kind of been going through something a little bit challenging. And that's because this is a 9-year. And this is the time to wind up all of the lessons and the rememberings. And I call it rememberings because sometimes it's about starting something new and bringing that through to the number 1 year for the next cycle. Okay, so that's the rememberings. The rememberings is all the good stuff. And the lessons is all the stuff that's like what a lot of people would say karmic stuff and just old traumas that are requiring to be released so you don't bring them through to the next year. Because the next layer that comes across up from the numerological point of view is the aspect of what are you choosing next, right? And this gets me really excited of what people are choosing, and it's this last year has been about clearing a lot of the old trauma. There's been a lot of traumas that I've seen playing out in many people's worlds this year. Things that have just bubbled right up to the surface so loud that people cannot ignore it anymore. Yeah. It'll be old belief systems, old points of views, old trauma patterns, trauma bonding, and with that comes deep, deep learning and deep understanding of how to move past that. It's not necessarily about forgetting about it. It's more about going, I now hear it, I now feel it, I now integrate it, I make peace with it, and now I can move forward with a clear, feeling safe inside heart. So if you have a look at the rest of the year and you're feeling like, man, the first 11 months or 9 months or 10 months were a freaking nightmare, but the last couple of months seems to be getting a little bit better. That's why. You've done a lot of your work, and I say, well done to you, because it's not been easy. We have been hit with so many different astrological things this year, between the normal things like retrogrades and stuff like that. But we also have had a lot of solar flares, which have caused us to have big energetic like squish points. And we've seen that come out with how many aurora sightings and things like that we've been hearing about a lot this year. This is all pushing us as a collective very firmly away from the 3D way of living. We are currently in the 4D. So the 3D world is all about polarity. It's about right and wrong, good and bad, black and white, and fighting and suppression of the feminine and all that sort of stuff. As we move through the 4D, it's not going to be very long in the 4D. I predict maybe a couple of years in the 4D, but the 4D is about emotions. Now, the 4D really started kicking in around the Lionsgate portal. So that was in October. So just be aware of that. Like, if you just take a moment right now and think back to what was happening from October through to now, have you seen people being a little bit more emotional than usual? Have you seen people being a little bit more road ragey than usual? Have you seen people just losing their noodles, maybe in your own home? And this is all to do with bringing up those old emotions, those old traumas, so that you can tackle them, identify them, tackle them, heal them, and release.
Release them.
Yeah. Because it's about making peace with it. And making peace with it for yourself, you make peace with it moving forward. Okay. So how does that feel for you so far, Tanya?
That's good. I want to ask you a question for people that don't know how to release. They've never done it before, that are really stuck. So I know I have actually quite a lot of friends that are really stuck and, you know, going getting counseling and things like that. But I don't know if they've really taught how to sometimes to release more of on an energetic and spiritual level as well. What are some of the things or tools we could give them to try this week?
Yes. So one of the things, there's so many different things that I do. Just for me personally, let alone with my clients. For me personally, one of the things that I do use is a really cute little tool of sort of like meditation. Now, before you go, oh, I can't meditate, I don't know how to meditate, I can't calm my mind. That's not what I'm talking about here. It's more of an inner healing. More often than not, what's happening is our inner child is coming up to say, hey, please listen to me. This trauma, this point that you need to release is actually to do with me. And so what I can do, and maybe we'll do that a little bit tonight if you like, I can take you through a little guided meditation to show you how to get in touch with your inner child. It's very simple. Online, including on my YouTube channel and stuff like that, I have guided meditations, and each one is targeting a different thing. I'm not the only one who does this. If you get onto YouTube, you're like going inner child, trauma, maybe mother trauma, something like that, or financial trauma or something. If you Google that or put that onto this little search bar for YouTube, there'll be heaps of little meditations that will pop up, guided meditations. So that's something you can do for free. I love the fact that I get to do these meditations every single Friday night on my podcast, and they often flow in all sorts of different ways. Not a single one of them has been the same. I'm on my 4th season of the podcast now, and every single one is different. So I've managed to take some of those and pop them off onto a separate folder. And that folder will be continuing to grow as I can make the time to do the editing. But one of the I'm really excited to share with you guys how to get in touch with your inner child. Do you have to know how to visualize? No, not really. It's all about intention. It's like, if you really truly wish to tackle that particular issue, then yes, and you sort of get the sense that it's probably to do with your inner child stuff, and you can do that with some quick asking. Another tool that I use, if you're not into the meditation thing, guided or otherwise, you can, and this is something that has come through from the holistic counseling side, is you can write at the top of a page a question, such as, say, for some people that I've seen having, say, business issues and not being able to gain clients. It's like, you can ask the question and don't say why. I'm going to give you that top tip. Never, ever, 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 ever start a question with why, because it's instantly putting you onto the back foot and making you wrong.
Okay, that's interesting.
You can say, for what reason am I not getting further clients? Okay, that makes it a really open question. And write it at the top of your page and just jot down the things that come to mind. And you might be quite surprised what comes out. I know when I've done these processes myself, and there's been loads of different things that I've done this sort of intuitive journaling is what it's called, that I've gone, oh, and often it'll go down, 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 down. The further you write, and then you go, oh, it's inner child stuff. Cool. It almost always goes back to the inner child stuff, or something to do with your parents, or something to do with the way you grew up. Because it's incredible just how much is locked into our brains subconsciously within that first sort of 7 to 9 years. So if you're thinking about just now going, oh God, well, my first 7 to 9 years was XYZ, and then you look at how that has potentially impacted on you this year, it's like, what's hidden little belief systems, points of views are sitting back there that are preventing you from moving forward?
Yeah. Even relationships, personal or professional, or partners, can be a lot of different
a
things.
whole lot. Everything.
One thing I've always been taught to do is, a lot of those things too about releasing is writing it all out. So a lot of times, when you can't sleep because your head is, we call it in the sales world, head trash. It really is head trash, because your head just doesn't shut up and it rides over things. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? Or frustrations, when you're having family issues or whatever. I find that stuff like that kind of head trash. And for me, I think since I was in my early 20s, started to learn to, actually, I think it was a part of my recovery when I had my first spinal fusions, was to get out of bed. And I used to keep a diary, the full page day diaries. And we would use that to write out, not for anybody to read, but just our thoughts. And it was a good way to get the thoughts out of your head, and those sorts of things. And one of the things we do often with entrepreneurs is, doing that burning and releasing, like letting it go, writing it out, letting go, and then, so it's a releasing, but then writing a gratitude post and all those sorts of things too, to yourself.
Absolutely. And when you do release, and if you do the burn and release, I love that tool too. Please come back to your heart space and give yourself lots of love. Most often when we're in trauma and in survival mode, particularly, survival mode is a trauma response. And for a lot of people, their survival mode has been activated a lot over this last 9-year cycle. We've had so much happen in the world and in our society, and just there's been so many very, very fast changes and lots of, dare I say it, death energy. Without going into that too much, it's just there's been a lot of clearing energy happen over the last 9 years, and it has been very, very tough on the tender-hearted of us to feel that, know it, and be able to hold space for it as we are coming up to the end of this year, this lovely 9-year cycle. I'm stoked for the next year. I'm just so looking forward to it. There's been just so much happening, and like the building of that energy is already happening now for me. So it's like I'm thrilled to be able to come to you guys and give you some tools and tips and just little bits and pieces so that you can just, even right now, we have on the 20th of December, there's a new moon. Okay. Now, new moon ceremonies are something that I'm not super rigid about. New moon, full moons, doesn't matter to me. When it strikes you to do something, the new moon and the full moon are very, very potent times to do that. So the writing out, the intuitive writing, just scribbling, like grabbing a piece of paper and like as Tanya said, you've got all your trash mind. In my world, we call it monkey mind. And you can just like scribble on your piece of paper, just anything and everything. Just literally scribble, and it's like you might find that you go like that and make lots of really hard scribbles, and then you might find that you put little wee dots somewhere and all those sorts of things. It's all energy. And when we think about it, as little kids, we don't write with words. We don't put our energy in words as little kids. We scribble, right? If we're frustrated,
Still scribble.
Love it. So allow yourself to tap into that again. Allow yourself to tap into that energy. Now, with the full moon and the new moons, both of them, we've already done all the we've done all the full moons for the year. This is our very, very last one, is on the 20th of a new moon. So it's the last new moon of the year. And with this one, I would highly recommend that you write your intentions of the things that you wish to release and also the things you wish to bring through. Take it outside. And I know for many Australians who might be watching this, who are now in fire ban season, be mindful of that. But you can then burn it. The other thing that you can do is actually put the paper in water. Okay. And if you write your intentions on things like maybe paper towel or a tissue, something like that, being very careful, of course, the paper will dissolve or at least disperse in the moonlight, and you can just leave it out in the moonlight and just give it some prayers and say thank you and look up to the sky, because you won't be able to see the moon because it's a new moon. But you say thank you to the sky, and you thank you to the earth, and just thank you to all the environment around you that is continuing to support you every single day. That space of gratitude for the year to come, as well as the gratitude for everything that you have been through already in this last 12 months, this last 9-year cycle, that's going to be huge. That's huge, potent energy. So,
isn't it, when you think about all the things of just in the last couple of years, that have really gone on and what everybody's taken on board with it all. Yeah, there's a lot to release. A lot to let go, a lot to forgive yourself.
Forgiving of self is the biggest thing. Yeah, I know of a lot of people who have gone through, a lot of narcissistic relationships, family type stuff over this last 5-6 years, and it's been an intense journey. And they're like, every single one of them that I've spoken to have like gone, there's no way that energy is coming through to me in this next 9-year cycle. No way. And they are choosing really differently for themselves into this next 9-year cycle. And I'm just so excited for them as well. And, you know, the people we've spoke, you and I speak a lot about business and the points of views and belief systems people have about business. Like there was that lovely moment where you had that, I remember it was way back in our early days, and you were like, I don't need any more money. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to stop saying that.
And put a block.
It's like, let's
put a block on my business. I had
here.
no idea that it was, you know, like, yeah, because we're good, you know, in a good place. And yeah, so, but I didn't realize that that actually had an impact on my business.
Yeah.
Until you pointed it out. And sometimes you just need somebody else to point out to you and to actually just realize, shit, you're right. I was like, oh, I think there was a couple of other words, but I can't quite remember what they were. But there was a few select words you often heard me say in just general talking. And and I was like, oh, I didn't realize, you know, just that's something I never gave much thought of.
So
yeah.
Here's some more fun ones for you. The words need and want. For those of you who've ever studied accounting, you remember the old spread, the what do they call them? The not the spreadsheets, but the balance sheets.
Yeah.
Right? You had all your things coming in, and then you had to categorize them into a need or a want. Now, here's the tricky thing. If you actually go back to the original meaning of need and want, they both mean to lack. So it was the changing of the definition just ever so slightly was a way to bamboozle you into not creating more for you. Okay? What you require to change those words out for, and if this is the only thing you change coming into the new year, I'm going to get rid of the words need and want out of my vocab. Make that your New Year's resolution, put it up everywhere so that you don't forget, and change them for desire, require, and wish. Okay.
Wish. Yep. I think that's a really good one. And I'm going to challenge everybody who watches this over the next 7 days. Have a think, a real conscious think about how many times you say those other two words. And you might be surprised, because I have some friends that in one conversation in 5 minutes will probably say it 10 to 20 times. And it's surprising how much they actually use it in their vocabulary. And it comes from a very different space that I can't, won't, and don't. They're the things, same things. I can't do this. I won't do that. So you will always keep attracting more of what you can't do, what you won't do. So, and it's a very different thing when you say, I can, I will, you know, and receiving is another big one. That was on our conversations this week as well, is receiving gifts. That was always, like, I think you and I really met. For me, I love giving, but I've struggled receiving because people don't normally give back to me. I always give a lot of stuff. So that was a big thing for me to learn to start receiving as well. And, you know, receiving from you also, so which has been great. So, but yeah, it's a really big, hard task for a lot of people, because it comes also from a place of self-love. I think. I don't know.
It does. There's also some interesting stuff around receiving, because if you have had, and I'm going to go back to childhood stuff again, if you've had a resentful martyr parent, which is part of a multitude of types of narcissistic parents. Okay, this is the parent who gives you something and expects all the accolades in the world. And if you don't give it, then they get really shitty at you. They will give you all the things that you don't really wish to have. They'll give you things that you haven't even, like, you've specifically told them not to give you. And they'll still do it because they thought of it. And then get really upset with you if you don't give them all the accolades and say, oh, thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. So every single gift comes with hooks. So that makes those of us who are a little bit more energy aware and sensitive a little bit cautious about receiving anything from anybody, because it's that old adage of, I'll scratch your back if you'll scratch mine. And that's not particularly a nice place to come from. Whereas, and I also had to learn how to receive from everybody. I thought I just wasn't receiving very well from men. No, it was everybody. And I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but I used to do a thing like I would get a gift or a card or whatever. I would make it. I would spend so much time, depending on the person. I would spend a lot of time on my handmade card. I would give it to them, and then I'd instantly walk out of the room. I would find a reason to leave so that they could open up the card and I didn't have to look at their reaction. I didn't have to see if they were disappointed or excited, or if it came with extra stuff, if they were like now going in their brains going, oh my God, now I've got to give her something. Oh, fuck, shit. Oh my God. Sorry for swearing. But this, because I'm telepathically aware, energetically aware, I could see all of that going across their faces. So it wasn't until I started working with people who would just be present in the moment
You make the most spectacular cards.
that I began to realize that it's okay and it is safe for me to gift to other people and receive their adoration.
Yeah.
Because their adoration came with nothing but love.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that took a long time and it took a lot of like really conscious thought to, number one, figure out that's what I was doing, and number two, to stop myself from walking out. Oh, just go get you a drink. Oh, I forgot something in the kitchen. Oh, I forgot something in the car. Here you go. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah.
Right. So with my beautiful friend here, Tanya, and her levels of receiving, and also the realization that I have to acknowledge this beautiful moment that we had when we don't realize the gifts that we have until somebody else points it out. And if this is the only thing that you do this Christmas season, is to point out the gifts that other people have that they can't see themselves. And the moment I'm talking about is Tanya goes, oh, I'm not a healer. And I looked at her and I went, are you for real right now? And she's like, yeah, I'm not a healer. I don't do what you do. I said, you don't have to do what I do to be a healer. And she's like, but I don't do Reiki or anything. I said, I don't do Reiki either at the moment. She's like, but I don't do what my mum does. And I'm like, and? I said, you heal through your cooking, through your absolute love of cooking and as a chef.
That's my love language, as they say.
It is. And because you have such deep, deep passion, the amount of passion that I have for my energy healing, you have that for your cooking. And you have that much passion for the the preparation, the growing of the produce, or the harvesting, or the procurement of it, the process of going through all of those things and coming up with the recipe or following a recipe and then tweaking it to have your own like swing on it. And just that amount of love is infused into every single piece of your meals. And that in and of itself is incredibly healing to someone else who doesn't get to feel that kind of love on a regular basis.
Yep.
You're literally healing them from the inside out.
Yep. Never thought of that. That's interesting. Yeah. So yeah, well, I mean, I love entertaining, and everyone loves my food, so it's great. You know, and that's for me. That's
because
easy.
you fill it with so much love.
Yeah, and you know, and just entertaining is really nice, just to make people happy, that kind of stuff. And you know, I suppose this lunch club group that we've created here as well, it's been the same sort of thing. You know, women coming together, and just being able to connect and, you know, just to have real conversation. And a couple of ladies hadn't had a real hug for a long time, so I gave them a really big hug last week, and they said, "Oh, it makes me want to cry."
Yeah. And that's the thing. There's a lot of people out there who this time of year is incredibly difficult because they don't get to connect with people who they adore, who they would like to. Maybe they've lost touch with their family, maybe, and especially now, like I said, the death energy is large. So there'll be a lot of people out there who are going through their first Christmas without their loved ones this year. And if you know, family, friends, you know, and this particular Christmas is I think going to be really hard on a lot more people than usual. So if you know of anybody, if you know of anybody like that, just give them an extra long hug, and, you know, just bring in some of that lovely gifting of self at this time. And if you're one of those people who is going through that, light a candle for them and remember them. Take some moments to actually just pause.
Realize, there's a lot of people out there that just need help, or just need someone to talk to, I suppose, is another thing as well. And with no judgment, that's another thing. You know, they just need someone to hear what's going on, and just to listen is another, you know, really big thing sometimes too. Just be there to listen to what they need. They just need somebody to hear them.
Top sales tip. Give you one of those right now. Slow down.
Yes.
And listen. Slow down and listen. Listen to what the client is saying. Not what you think that they're going to say, and not necessarily what you want them to say. Slow down and listen to their actual words. Listen to their energy. Listen to the tone of their voice. A lot of people who are going through trauma often have a little bit of a quiver in their voice. And they're trying really hard to hold it together. So in those moments, just slow down, take a breath.
I think that's a big thing for everybody, is we just need to, this time of the year, is just to pull out of everything sometimes and just slow down and reflect. And this is obviously the reason the conversation is really in the next, we've only have really, you know, 2 weeks left to the end of the year sort of time frame, is to sit down and reflect, write out everything you need to let go of, and write down what everything you want to let go of this year. And from the last 9 years.
Did you guys catch that? She said she used both need and want, sit one after the other. This is how easy it is. So write out everything that you require to let go of, okay? and write out everything you desire to bring in over this next 12 months.
Yep.
I know it's hard to think about the next 9 years. The interesting thing, fun little thing, I have this advent calendar that I made back in 2016 at craft class. And in this advent calendar at the time, I put out a request in my learning to receive more, because I was terrible at it.
Yeah.
I asked for my Facebook friends to write for me in the comments on my Facebook all the ways, or what are the ways that I have contributed, or what's most special about our relationship, our friendship, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this year I have managed to unpack it again. And apparently I did the process again in 2018. So I've done it twice, and I'd completely forgotten because I was, fixing up the advent calendar and stuff, and opened up a couple of the boxes, and I'm like having a little read, and I was like, oh wow. And so as I'm going through these things, one of the things that I did for the advent calendar, and this might be something that you might like to do for fun, just for shits and giggles, is write out 25 goals for the next year to 5 years. And they can be goals to do with relationship, they can be personal goals, they can be business goals, they can be financial goals, they can be anything at all. I had a goal there of I desire to be sitting out in nature for 7 full days a month.
Oh, that's a great idea. I like that one.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, huh. And I went, and I wrote that one in 2018, I think it was. No, it would be 2016, that one. And I went, wow, 7 days a month of sitting in nature.
Yeah.
That's not too unfeasible.
Not at all.
Even if it was 3 days of the month or 4 days of the month, like to actually sit out in nature. And it really made me reflect on how much I am inside a lot. For you, Tanya, with your lovely backyard, that's easy for you. And your beautiful green thumbs.
I love sitting outside.
Yeah.
Those of you who watch my social media a bit, like in winter, I've got a lovely garden out the back there with a log fire, and often at, I don't know, sometimes midday or 2 o'clock, I'll get out there and I'll crank up the fire and sit out there, and I'll work. If I'm working online or doing something like that, I'll do it outside, and I just really enjoy it. And I've sat out there with a jacket, beanie, scarf, even just so that I'm out in nature, but rather than sitting in here. So makes you feel so much different.
It does, and I love it when I get to come up to your place and enjoy your backyard nature, because you're surrounded by a lot of nature as well. So just some hints and tips for things to, like, little things, big things. It doesn't have to be, like having $50,000 in the bank by the end of the year. That could be one of your goals. And if it is, go for it. Like, that would be amazing for some people. And if that is one of your goals, awesome. One of my goals was to have $10,000 in what I call my 10% account, which is also my honoring account. And, I was like, I read that and I went, oh, wow, that is so cool. What an awesome goal. What an absolutely awesome goal. And to be honest, if I really look at it, there probably has been $10,000 at least flow through that particular account over the years, but I've used portions of it at different times for different things. So when I really look at it, there probably has been since then. And so awesome. All right, Tanya, what, if you're willing to share, What would be one thing that you would like to let go of this year? What point of view, belief system?
For me, it's holding on. A lot of stuff I've been holding on about everybody that I've been working with, family, business people. Have just been holding on to a lot of their stuff. Excuse me. There you go. So I'm this next week or so, I'm really wanting to clear all of that. I'm like, why am I hanging on to their thoughts? What they feel, this, that, and the other. Family, like we care for all of our parents. So there's always a lot of stuff going on in the family things, like every day. Because a lot of people are not aware that we've been caring, or I've been caring for 7 years as a full carer, pretty much for 6, 7 parents. It's 5 now. So yeah, it's just been pretty full on, and trying not to take on all of their trauma and stuff that goes on a daily basis, and we get a lot of it. So I'm trying to let go of all of that. For me, I want to end this year with a full, like, get it out.
Can we just backtrack that sentence just a tiny touch?
Yeah. I say.
How would you like to end the year?
With a full release, so that I feel good for myself. Just feeling that.
So do you want to do that, or would you desire or require to do that?
I desire and require to do it. And I am going to do it. So I'm already in the process of really having, that's a big mindset of mine this week, is knowing that I want to wind the year out.
You wish to.
I wish
wind
to
the year out.
Wind the year out. We're just feeling really clear, and knowing that I'm coming into the new year with a very clear mind and full purpose for next year. I've had a full purposeful year now, but I feel like I'm still hanging on to other people's stories and things and whatever's going on with them. And now I've just really learnt over the years, I've really learnt a lot about letting all the energy go. And I just feel like I've got a lot sitting there.
So one question I have for you before we go through is, you said, I want to let people's energy go. Do you?
Yes, I don't want any of it.
Pardon?
I don't desire to hold on to any of it.
Right. Because what was happening in there is, and this is where we've got to be so careful with those words, need and want, wanna. It's because what you're actually saying to the universe is, I desire to have more of that. I'm holding this much, and can I have some more, please?
No,
because I'm lacking in it. Okay? So if you think you've got enough now, and you keep saying, I want to let it go, I don't want to have any more of holding on to other people's energy, the universe only hears, oh, she hasn't got enough of that yet. Okay, here's some more.
I'm not going to say any more words. And I'm going to practice it. I'm going to practice it a lot over the next 2 weeks.
The best thing to do is to have an accountability buddy.
So
and you can catch each other out. You know, I've been practicing that tool for, 10 years now. So whenever people are talking and you'll see me just suddenly go, so I'll be like, and then I'll go, they've just said the word need and want. And subconsciously what they're telling me is that there's other reasons why they are holding on to that stuff.
Okay, I've got a question for you. One of the sales things I say every single day, I have what people need and want. How does that work? I say it every single day. Like we have services and products that people need and want. How do that's why I say it all the time. How do I get rid of that one out of my conversation?
Change it out for require,
We're
desire, and require.
require.
That's all you have to do, because otherwise what you're telling people is that you don't have the services.
We might need to unpack that one a bit more. Okay, that's a conversation
It's
for another
such
day.
a huge conversation, and it's like, it's just so invasive. And if we take it back to the simplicity of, if you require and desire to manifest and actualize more in your life, if you're sitting in a lot of poverty mindset, you will use words like need and want all the time. If you wish to break your poverty mindset, change those words for desire and require and wish. Because sometimes it's nice to just wish things. Right?
Well, I've always been told to be careful what I wish for.
That's a whole nother thing, right? Because yes, you just might get what you desire.
100%, absolutely. So we should give our viewers something for them to attend, which is your podcast on Friday evenings.
It is at 8 o'clock on Friday night. Pretty much every Friday night. The only times that I'm ever not there is if I'm taking some self-care time. And it doesn't happen too terribly often on a Friday. I try to work it around, because Fridays are my absolute sacred time with my Find You Fridays crew. So that is the name of my podcast, is Find You Fridays. But you can find it on YouTube if you just type up Lorene Hughes. If Tanya, you can pop my little name across the bottom of the screen or whatever. And so Lorene Hughes, you go at Lorene Hughes into YouTube, you can find it there. I always live stream into Facebook, and at this stage I will be continuing with Facebook. That is my awareness at the moment, because you all need me require me out there. See, I still flip up sometimes too. You guys still require me out there. And yay! That's a very cute banner.
I just made that one up.
And the other thing that the other places that you can find me is on my what is it called? Oh, it's a website. Which is Crafting Possibilities. Just craftingpossibilities.com. You'll see it. It comes up with my pretty little face and lots of purple pink colors. And
what kinds of things do you offer people? What kind of services do you provide?
So I do online sessions, and which is roughly 60 minutes long. Quite often they end up sort of about 90 minutes long, but I'd say it's a 60-minute session. The first one is almost always 90 minutes long, because there's a lot of background stuff that we have to get through, and like the beginning stages, there's certain processes that I take people through for connection and stuff like that. Because what's happened in our lives is we've ended up very scattered. The parts and pieces of us, we've disassociated with so much of the parts and pieces of us. And so one of the very first sessions I will do with basically everybody is bringing those parts and pieces all back in, so that they're nicely humming and contributing to each other, and you're all like light and floaty, and you're not feeling quite so weighed down by the world, because you're back together. You're you again, and everybody else's stuff is out. It's away from you. So yeah, and then I do in-person sessions as well. So I'm in the northern suburbs of Adelaide, up towards a sort of Elizabethy type way. And I have this beautiful healing room that is all set up, and I love working in there. It's so light and airy, and it is just an absolute privilege whether I get to do online sessions or in-person sessions with people. Bodywork sessions are always lots of fun. And Tanya can attest to to how much they can provide. My online sessions, they're a different little beastie altogether, and gosh, I have done and seen so many different awesome, wonderful things in my online sessions: past life regression work, bit of mediumship, theta healing work, dealing with belief systems. Gosh, there's there's so much and it's basically you just see where things are going. There'll be times when I might do an online session with you. We'll be doing verbal processing, and then I'll be running a body process remotely on you at the same time, even though you're a long way away from me. So you can get all of that from my website.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can book a time while she's sleeping even. So that's a cool part about automating your business really well. That's so wonderful. Yeah, I think it's just been an interesting chat for us tonight, for people to sit down and think between now and the new year what to release and what to call in for your future self. And if you need a bit of magical dust sprinkled on you, book a call with Lorene. She's amazing. When I started work, as an entrepreneur, people say, oh, become right into the woo-woo. And I was like, I didn't know what woo-woo really was, but then I realized what it was. My mum was a spiritual healer. So I have actually been part of, known all about it and been fully immersed in it since I was probably 10 or 13 years old. But it's just been nice to find somebody that has an incredible, unique talent such as yourself. And you've been a really big pinnacle point to my business, 100%. Unlocked my business, changed my wording, cleared my energy, all of the, years of past, all sorts of things, I go down there. But yeah, it's just been good to have somebody in my back pocket. I can say, hey, Lorene, can I come and see you? And you know what? A lot of people I meet, I send your way because, if we can help people, when they come chatting with us, and I say, I should go and have a chat with Lorene, and everybody that's had sessions with you come back and go, oh my God, it's been great. It's been life-changing for them. So that's, if that in itself is great to help people connect with everything. So, yeah. So
I've got one little tool that I'm going to take you guys through. I think the inner child stuff is something you can possibly explore on your own. Yep. Basically, that one is, imagine that your inner child is standing in front of you and you can have the conversation with them. But you come from that calm adult conscious space, right? And let the child speak. Because quite often, especially for us in our 30s, 40s, 50s, we have, and beyond, have our little child selves, we're not allowed to speak. So give them the chance to speak. Okay, so that's the first little thing I'm going to say. The next one I'm going to run you guys through is a tool that I use every single podcast, and it is called the Expanding Out tool. And for this one, I invite you to now close your eyes. Okay, take a big, deep breath in, and I'll do this with you. And breathing out. And this time as you breathe in, imagine bringing Mother Earth energy all the way up through your body, from your feet to the crown. And as you breathe out, imagine bringing Father Sky energy all the way down, from the crown all the way through your arms to your fingertips to your toes. And as you finish breathing out, breathing in, bringing Mother Earth and the unconditional love all the way up. And as you breathe out, bring Father Sky and the gratitude for everything and everyone all the way down. Now, if the only thing you did was that, you're already connecting and you're grounding. And that's more than you probably do most days. Okay? So even if you only do that breath, that's a good start. Now, I'm going to ask you to tune in on your body. Feel your body. Feel the position that it's in. Take notice of your clothing, your breath. Tune in on your blood, your internal organs, your muscles and your bones. And imagine going down deeper and deeper, right down like you've got a microscope. And you can see all the way down to your atoms, beyond your molecules, all the way to your atoms, so that you can see your protons and your neutrons swirling around your nuclei, and go even further, and you'll see that there is space in the nuclei as well. And as you look around your body, you will see that you are indeed 99.999999999% space. If you come back out a little bit to the cellular structure of your body, you will see that even the cells that are dying, their energy doesn't die. It just gets redistributed into other things. So nothing in your life is stuck or stagnant. Okay? That's something that's really important to notice. Everything changes and everything can change. With a thought, a feeling, an action, everything can change. It's only our belief systems and our points of views that hold things stuck. Now, expanding out your awareness of your body to the size of the room that you're in, all the way up to the ceiling and out to the walls and the floors. Now you're aware of everything in your room. And now expanding out your awareness a little bit further, go big as your home or the building that you're in. And now going out a little bit further, going up into the sky, down into the earth, like a big bubble of awareness energy with you right in the middle. Expanding out your awareness out beyond the size of the country that you're on. We're going to speed it up a little bit now. Expanding out your awareness beyond the size of the planet. Expanding out your awareness beyond the size of the solar system. Beyond the size of the galaxies. And beyond the size of the universes. Take a big breath here. Breathing out. And leaving your awareness nice and expanded out. Focus on your body once more. And here's the little golden nugget to how to not be caught up in everybody else's monkey mind over this next couple of weeks. You're going to take your allowance. Now, your allowance is your ability to perceive, know, and receive everything from no point of view. Instead of being a tight, contracted little pebble surrounded by bright white light at the bottom of a raging river of everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, you get to be the nice, fluffy cloud just floating on by. And you see that raging river of everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And you can choose. Do you add to it? Do you play with that river? Or do you see it for exactly what it is? It's just energy. And you make the choice to float on by and let it go. Let it flow away from you. And you go and join your other happy clouds up in the top of the mountains. I know where I'd rather be. So expanding out your allowance now. And if this is your first time, just follow along. Your body knows exactly what to do. This is all very, very old stuff. These are old techniques way before any modality recently that came out with it. Expanding out your allowance beyond your body in a big bubble up into the sky, down into the earth with you in the center. Expanding out your allowance beyond the size of the home that you're in, beyond the size of the country. And you might find that you did a little bit of a yawn right there, a bit of a big intake of breath. And that's because as other people are doing this process with you, you're now like saying an energetic hi to your friends. Expanding out your allowance to the size of the planet. That might give you another bit of a moment for a yawn. Again, it's your friends that are joining you, going, hi, let's go. Expanding out your allowance beyond the size of the solar system, beyond the size of the galaxies. And now, here's the critical part, the golden nugget. Expand out your allowance beyond your awareness. And take a big, deep breath in. And notice how your body relaxes as you breathe out. And now you can open your eyes. Now, if you want to know how to do that the really quick way, because I took you the very slow way, you just go, I expand out my awareness beyond wherever I've been before, and I expand out my allowance beyond that. And instantly, you'll be even more expanded out than you are right now.
That was lovely.
So if you wish to have an easier time in traffic, an easier time at work, an easier time with your clients, an easier time if you've got to ring up like any utilities companies or the government or government departments or, you know, anything like that, expand out first. Okay? Because when you're contracted, like that little pebble at the bottom of the raging river of everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, you're getting boom, 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 boom. You're at the effect of their stuff. Whereas if you expand out, what do you know? You get to be that light and fluffy cloud. And you're just like, okay, you've got your shit. Doesn't matter to me. It doesn't have to sit with me. It doesn't have to sit with my heart.
Yeah.
So yeah. Isn't it pretty cool?
That was very lovely. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in today and watching the replay. Well, we're going to use this across our socials anyway and give you Lorene's details to make contact with her. And yeah, hopefully it's create some change for your day. Something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. So remember those top tips, expanding out. That's top tip. Definitely top tip. Top tip, get in touch with your inner child stuff. Next top tip, write it down, release it, especially if you're watching this before the 20th of December. Do some release work with the lovely big new moon. All right.
And writing
and most of all, give yourself some love, forgiveness, and just love on yourself. Receive from you.
Oh, just always love having a chat with Lorene. Thank you again. And we'll wind it up. We'll have to come back and have another day.
Yeah, we can.
Bye for now. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.